Imagine standing at the edge of everything you've ever wanted, the life you've dreamed about glowing so vividly in your mind, and realizing that the only thing between you and that vision is the choice to rise into it. That choice, that moment where you refuse to let fear hold the pen of your story, is where victory begins. The truth is, victory isn't some far-off treasure reserved for the lucky or the chosen few. It's already inside of you, waiting to be unlocked, waiting for you to stand tall and claim it. Your glow, your power, your light, it's not something you have to chase, it's something you have to awaken. Victory begins with choice. That single truth has the power to change the entire course of your life. At first glance, it may seem almost too simple, too obvious. Of course, we make choices every day. But there is a deeper layer here because not every choice is the same. Some choices are surface-level decisions, like what you'll eat, what you'll wear, what route you'll take to work. But then there are the life-shaping choices, the ones that define your path, the ones that separate a life lived in hesitation from a life lived in radiance. These choices are not about external things. They're about deciding who you will be in the face of challenges, deciding what story you will tell yourself, deciding to step into a version of yourself that no longer bows to fear. That decision made deep within you is the spark that ignites victory. So often people wait for circumstances to change before they allow themselves to feel victorious. They think, once I have the promotion, then I'll glow. Once I find the right relationship, then I'll feel worthy. Once I reach that milestone, then I'll finally believe I'm successful. But that mindset keeps victory at arm's length, always just out of reach, always dependent on something external. The truth is, circumstances don't create victory, your choice does. When you choose to rise before the evidence, when you choose to believe before the results, you start living as if victory is already yours. And from that inner certainty, you begin to draw the external results you once thought you had to wait for. Choice is power. It's the one thing no one can take from you. No matter what life throws at you, no matter the storms, no matter the setbacks, you still have the power to choose how you respond. You can choose to see obstacles as roadblocks, or you can choose to see them as training grounds. You can choose to shrink under the weight of fear, or you can choose to stand taller because of it. You can choose to complain about the darkness, or you can choose to light your own flame. These choices might seem small in the moment, but they accumulate, they shape you, and eventually they become the very foundation of your victory. Think about it. Every great story of triumph began with a choice. Someone chose not to give up. Someone chose to keep fighting when it was easier to surrender. Someone chose to believe in themselves when no one else did. That's the glow of victory. It doesn't begin with applause. It doesn't begin with recognition. It begins in silence, in solitude, in the moment when you whisper to yourself, I will not quit. I will rise. The world may not see that choice right away, but eventually the world feels it because your glow grows brighter and your victory becomes undeniable. When you wake up each morning, you're given another opportunity to choose. You can choose to replay the doubts, or you can choose to step into faith. You can choose to see yourself as stuck, or you can choose to see yourself as becoming. You can choose to keep dimming your light to make others comfortable, or you can choose to glow unapologetically and inspire them to rise as well. And when you make those empowering choices consistently, you start to notice the shift. You begin to walk differently. You speak differently. You carry yourself with a quiet certainty that says, I know who I am, I know what I carry, and I know where I'm going. That certainty, that glow, is victory itself. So remember this, victory is not waiting for you at the finish line. It is not hiding in the approval of others. It is not something you stumble upon by accident. Victory is a choice you make right now, in this very moment. You choose it with your thoughts, with your words, with your actions, with the way you rise after you fall. You choose it every time you decide that fear will not have the final word. And when you keep making that choice day after day, you'll look back and realize that you've been victorious all along, not because life handed it to you, but because you claimed it from within. Setbacks are fuel, not failures. This is a truth that many struggle to embrace because in the moment when life knocks you down, when a plan crumbles, when something you worked so hard for slips through your hands, it can feel like the end. It can feel like the universe has turned against you, like you are somehow unworthy of success. But when you look deeper, when you shift your perspective, you begin to see that every setback is not a signal to stop, it is a signal to grow. The very things you thought were breaking you were actually building you, strengthening you, shaping you into someone more resilient, more focused, more capable of handling the greatness that lies ahead. Failure is never final unless you decide it is. Too often, we confuse a single defeat with a lifetime verdict. But a closed door doesn't mean you're not destined for something extraordinary. It simply means you are being redirected to a path that holds greater alignment with who you truly are. When you can see setbacks as redirections rather than rejections, you stop fighting against them and start learning from them. You begin to ask, what is this teaching me? What strength is being developed here? What new path is opening up? And suddenly, what once felt like a heavy weight transforms into fuel that propels you forward. Think about the strongest, most inspiring people you know or have read about. None of them reached their place of victory without setbacks. In fact, their setbacks were the very stories that made their triumph so powerful. They didn't rise because everything went smoothly. They rose because when everything went wrong, they still chose to get back up. And that's what makes you glow too. Your resilience, your refusal to quit, your determination to turn pain into power, that's what fuels your journey. A setback is like a refiner's fire. It burns away what isn't serving you. It strips down the illusions and distractions so that your true strength, your true purpose, your true brilliance can emerge. It's uncomfortable, yes. It can be heartbreaking. But in that fire, you are being sharpened. You are being prepared for victories bigger than you imagined. Sometimes the very thing you think is holding you back is the very thing ensuring you'll be ready for the life you've prayed for. Without those challenges, without those tests, you wouldn't have the depth of character, the wisdom, or the strength to sustain your success. Setbacks also humble us. They remind us that growth is a process, that we are always learning, always becoming. They teach us compassion for ourselves and for others. Because when you've been through the valleys, when you've known loss and disappointment, you understand what it takes to rise again. That empathy becomes part of your glow. You no longer just chase victory for yourself, you become someone who inspires and guides others through their struggles too. Your scars don't disqualify you, they qualify you. Uh, wait. Yeah. I, I was, when you rise from something that was meant to break you, you carry an energy, a confidence, a glow that cannot be faked. You know your strength because you've seen it in action, yet you still stand. That tried to strip it away, and yet you still stand. That is not failure, that is fuel. Every closed door, every detour is adding to your story, building the momentum that will make your breakthrough undeniable. So the next time you face a setback, remind yourself it's not the end. It's the beginning of a stronger chapter. It's not a punishment, it's preparation. It's not failure, it's fuel. And as long as you keep rising, as long as you keep learning, as long as you keep moving, there is no setback powerful enough to stop your glow of victory from shining through. Authenticity is the foundation of true victory, and yet it's the very thing so many people abandon on their journey to success. The world teaches us from an early age to fit in, to follow the rules, to adjust ourselves so that others feel comfortable. We are told to play small, to tone down, to hide the parts of ourselves that don't match the expectations of society. And for a while, some people do it. They chase the titles, the image, the validation, thinking that once they achieve it all, they will finally feel victorious. But then they reach that point and realize something feels hollow because nothing feels heavier than winning at the cost of losing yourself. True victory is not found in the masks you wear or the roles you play to be accepted. True victory comes when you rise as you are, unapologetically aligned with your truth and glowing with the power of authenticity. When you are authentic, you stop living for applause and start living from purpose. You no longer bend and break yourself to please everyone else because you realize that no matter what you do, there will always be critics. If you shine, someone will say you're too bright. If you grow, someone will say you've changed. If you chase your dreams, someone will say you're unrealistic. But when you're authentic, you learn that their opinions don't define you, your alignment does. And alignment is powerful because when your words, actions, and values are in harmony, you carry a glow that is magnetic. People are drawn to authenticity because it's rare, they can sense it, they can feel it, they trust it. And from that place, you attract not only opportunities, but the right people, the ones who resonate with who you truly are. Living authentically takes courage. It means saying no when you want to please. It means stepping out of line when the crowd is marching in a direction that doesn't match your heart. It means facing the risk of rejection and still choosing to honor your truth. And yet, Every time you choose authenticity, you strengthen your glow. You affirm to yourself that you are enough as you are, that your worth doesn't need to be proven, that your uniqueness is your power. And when you stop betraying yourself for acceptance, you start to taste what real victory feels like. It's not loud. It's not about proving anything. It's about peace. It's about the deep, unshakable knowing that you are living in alignment with your soul. Authenticity also creates sustainability. You can't fake a glow forever. If you build success on a false version of yourself, eventually the cracks will show. It becomes exhausting to pretend. But when you build your life from a place of authenticity, you don't have to perform, you simply exist. And existing as your true self is liberating. You free yourself from the chains of comparison because there's no one to compete with when you're in your own lane. You stop chasing trends and start following your intuition. And that shift creates a flow and ease because you are no longer at war with yourself. Victory feels lighter when it's authentic. And authenticity does more than transform your life. It becomes a beacon for others. When you stand tall in your truth, you give others permission to do the same. Your glow becomes a mirror that shows people they don't have to dim themselves to belong, that they don't have to compromise who they are to be loved, that they don't have to win by becoming someone they're not. That is one of the greatest victories you can achieve, not just glowing for yourself, but igniting the glow in others by embodying your truth. So, if you ever wonder what real victory looks like, don't measure it by the size of your bank account or the applause of the crowd. Measure it by how free you feel to be yourself. Measure it by the peace in your spirit, the joy in your heart, the glow that radiates when you no longer hide. That is victory in its purest form. And the foundation of that victory will always be authenticity, because anything built on pretense may glitter, but only the truth will glow. Small wins build unstoppable momentum, and this is one of the most powerful truths you can carry with you on your journey. Too often, people wait for one giant breakthrough, one monumental moment that changes everything. They imagine that victory arrives in a single day with fireworks and applause. But in reality, most victories are built quietly, brick by brick, choice by choice, step by step. The glow of a triumphant life is not the result of one massive leap. It is the result of countless small wins that stack together until they become an unstoppable force. A small win can be as simple as choosing discipline when it would be easier to procrastinate, choosing positivity when negativity feels louder, or choosing persistence when quitting feels tempting. At first, these wins may seem insignificant. You may even question if they matter because they don't always deliver instant results. But over time, these small victories compound. They build confidence, they strengthen resilience, they reshape your habits, and eventually, they shift the entire direction of your life. Momentum doesn't come from one huge success, it comes from the consistency of stacking wins, no matter how small they seem in the moment. Think about a river carving its way through rock. It doesn't happen in a single day. It happens drop by drop, flow by flow, a constant persistence that eventually reshapes the landscape. Your small wins are like those drops. Every time you choose growth over comfort, every time you follow through on a promise you made to yourself, every time you refuse to let fear hold you back, you are carving a new path. At first, it might not look like much has changed, but keep going. And one day you'll look back and realize you've transformed your life in ways you never imagined possible. The beauty of small wins is that they build belief. Each time you succeed in even the smallest way, you send a message to yourself that says, I am capable, I am strong, I am moving forward, and belief is everything. When you believe in yourself, your energy changes, your actions become bolder, your vision becomes clearer. You stop asking if it's possible and start asking what steps you need to take next. And those steps create even more wins, fueling the cycle of momentum until nothing can stop you. But small wins also teach patience. They remind you that greatness is not rushed. A tree doesn't grow overnight. It grows through seasons of consistency. Small wins train you to honor the process, to trust the timing, to see value in progress rather than perfection. Too often, people abandon their dreams because they can't see instant results. But those who learn to celebrate the small wins, those who understand that momentum is being built even when the progress feels slow, are the ones who ultimately glow with victory. Your glow is not built in a day, it's built daily. It's in the quiet mornings when you choose to rise instead of hitting snooze. It's in the tough moments when you choose to try again instead of giving up. It's in the decision to forgive, to learn, to grow. to keep moving. These choices may not seem like grand victories in the moment, but they are the foundation of a life that cannot be shaken. They're the reason you will one day look back and realize how far you've come. So don't underestimate the power of the small. Don't dismiss the little choices, the tiny steps, the quiet victories. Each one carries energy, each one carries momentum, each one pushes you closer to the life you dream of. And when those small wins gather together, they create an unstoppable force. They create a glow so powerful that no setback can dim it, no doubt can break it, and no obstacle can hold it back. That is how ordinary moments transform into extraordinary victories, one small win at a time. Discipline and self-care go hand in hand, and understanding this balance is what allows victory to be not only achieved, but also sustained. Too often, discipline is mistaken for self-punishment, for relentless sacrifice, for grinding without rest until the body and spirit break. People imagine discipline as something harsh, rigid, and unforgiving. But true discipline is an act of devotion to your highest self. It is choosing to show up for your dreams consistently, not out of fear of failure, but out of love for who you are becoming. And within that devotion lies the truth that rest, reflection, and self-care are not signs of weakness, but vital components of strength. Discipline is about consistency. It is about training your mind to act in alignment with your goals, even on the days when motivation feels distant. It is waking up when you said you would, following through on promises, and building habits that lead to growth. But what many fail to see is that discipline without self-care quickly turns into burnout. You can push yourself hard, you can chase achievement endlessly, but if you neglect your body, your mental health, and your soul, the glow of victory will dim. A flame burns brightest when it has fuel, and your fuel comes from caring for yourself. The truth is, self-care is not indulgence, it is preparation. When you rest, you are recharging your energy. When you pause, you are gaining clarity. When you care for your body, you are ensuring it has the strength to carry you through. The most disciplined life is not the one where you never stop moving, but the one where you know when to push and when to pause, when to grind and when to breathe. Victory is not found in exhaustion, it is found in balance. You cannot glow if you are drained. You cannot inspire if you are empty. You cannot claim victory if you've lost yourself in the process of chasing it. Discipline and self-care are partners. Discipline tells you to show. UP self-care ensures you have the energy to keep showing up. My shit rhythm of growth that is sustainable, a path to victory that does not burn you out, but allows you to shine brighter over time. Think about the times you've pushed yourself too hard, running on empty, chasing goals without stopping to breathe. In those moments, exhaustion takes over, creativity fades, and the joy of the journey disappears. That is not true victory, that is survival. Now think about the times you honored your need for rest, when you gave yourself space to reset, when you nurtured your mind and body. How much stronger did you feel afterward? How much more focused, more alive, more ready to keep moving? That is the glow that comes from balance. That is the energy that allows you to walk in victory without losing yourself. Self-care also sharpens discipline. When your body is nourished, your mind is clear, and your spirit is aligned, it becomes easier to follow through on your commitments. You don't have to drag yourself through tasks. You move with energy, with clarity, with purpose. And discipline reinforces self-care because when you are disciplined enough to rest, disciplined enough to protect your peace, disciplined enough to set boundaries, you are practicing one of the highest forms of self-love. Victory is not about how fast you get there. It's about how strong you feel when you arrive. It's about carrying a glow that is steady, not a flame that burns out too quickly. Discipline and self-care together allow you to create that steady glow. They allow you to keep rising, to keep pushing, to keep expanding without losing your joy in the process. That is the true art of victory, moving forward with strength while nurturing yourself with love so that your glow is not only powerful but also lasting. Your glow inspires others, and this is one of the most powerful truths about living victoriously. So often we think of victory as something personal, something that belongs only to us, a private achievement that marks the end of our struggle. But the reality is that your glow, your rise, your courage, does not just belong to you, it becomes a light that touches the lives of everyone around you. Every time you overcome, every time you step into your truth, every time you refuse to quit, you are sending a message to the world. It is possible. You may not even realize the impact you are making, but your glow is a silent mentor, guiding others to believe in themselves when they see what you have become. In moments when you rise after being knocked down, there is someone watching, someone who thought they couldn't go on, who sees your resilience and finds strength in it. In moments when you walk with authenticity, there is someone hiding behind a mask who realizes they too can take theirs off. In moments when you choose courage, there is someone drowning in fear who realizes bravery is not the absence of fear, but the decision to move forward anyway. That is the ripple effect of your glow. You don't have to stand on a stage. You don't have to be famous. You don't have to have a massive platform. Your life, lived with courage and victory, is already a message. The beautiful truth is that people are always learning more from who you are than from what you say. Words inspire, but energy transforms. And when your energy carries the frequency of victory, people feel it. They notice how you carry yourself, how you respond to challenges, how you rise when others would quit. They may not say it out loud, but inside they are thinking, if they can do it, maybe I can too. That is the gift your glow gives to the world. It becomes proof of possibility, proof that resilience works, proof that hope is worth holding on to. This is why it is so important not to dim yourself. When you hide your light, when you pretend to be smaller than you are, when you silence your voice to keep others comfortable, you're not just robbing yourself, you're robbing everyone who could have been inspired by your glow. You never know whose life is waiting for your courage, whose strength is waiting for your persistence, whose healing is waiting for your authenticity. By choosing to shine, you give others the permission and the encouragement to do the same. And the impact of your glow doesn't stop with those you directly touch. It spreads. When you inspire someone to rise, they carry that energy into their own life, and in turn, they inspire others. Your glow creates a chain reaction. A single flame has the power to light countless candles without losing its own brightness, and your glow works the same way. The more you shine, the more light you spread, and the world becomes brighter because of it. This is the legacy of victory. It's not just about what you achieve, but about what your life ignites in others. Success without impact fades quickly, but victory that inspires others lasts far beyond your lifetime. It becomes a living ripple that continues to touch lives long after the moment has passed. And the most amazing part is, you don't even need to try to inspire people. You simply need to live fully, authentically, courageously. Your glow will naturally do the rest. So when you rise, remember you're not rising alone. Every step you take forward is lighting the way for someone else. Every moment you choose faith over fear is paving the path for someone who thought it couldn't be done. Every victory you embody becomes an invitation for someone else to step into their own. That is why your glow matters. That is why your glow is not just personal, it is collective. It is a beacon in a world that desperately needs more light. And when you choose to let it shine, you don't just claim victory for yourself, you unlock it for others too.